Hi, it's Charisma from Charisma's Corner, and today I just have a fun project that I just did on the spur of the moment because I could, and sometimes for me I just need a quick project that I can get finished and that I can just relax and not think about, and there's no rules and whatever. So my friend Mary, she's been with me since the beginning. She has been a longtime customer of me, but I think we're more like friends now, and she lives in Illinois, and she sent me a bag of wool scraps because she just came across it, and she thought of me because I work with a lot of wool, and I have a whole line of wool penny embroidery patterns, and so wool is just one of my favorite loves. So she sent that to me just as a gift when she was sending a quilt for long arming, and I just wanted to dig into it right away, and I just started with a piece of scrap white fabric that I had on my cutting table, and I just whacked some of the wool pieces that came. I didn't measure anything. I just literally took them out of the package and started cutting and building a little puzzle piece of anything together. And you can see that none of it is straight, it's crooked, it's gloriously free. It's freedom, right? So then I just decided to add some wool pennies, and then it just became my embroidery project for this week. And I don't know, I just find something very charming and sweet about that. And I love all of the imperfections in folksy sort of crooked and no rules. So I did that, and all of the embroidery stitches that I use are on my channel. I have a tutorial for all of these, but I use the pistol stitch, the French knots, the applique stitch, and some lazy daisies, and that was it. And then after I finished stitching, I just added the floral cave border, and I quilted it because I like to quilt my pillow tops. I feel like they make them a little bit more sturdy. It adds a little bit more character, and that's how it is. So I just wanted to kind of show you this quick project and let you know that, sometimes we just need to have some free thing, nothing with deadlines, nothing with rules. I didn't have to look at anything. I just sort of stitched all willy-nilly and forgot about things for a day and didn't think about the colors or where things need to go or that it needed to be put on perfectly and lined up because I was going to have to take a picture of it and make a pattern for it and all of those things. I just wanted some free sewing time, and I love handwork, I love embroidery, I love all of that stuff, and I just needed to feel some wool and play with some color. So that was it. So this ended up finishing at 18 inches, and so I went ahead and trimmed that up. And then for my pillows, I like to use, I'll use cotton sometimes, but I like to use something a little heavier. So whether it's canvas, colored denim, something along those lines, I tend to like that a little bit more. I feel like it's a little bit sturdier, still washable because everything in my house has to be washable. I was a mom of 6 kids. They've left the nest now, but those 6 kids have been replaced with 3 dogs, and they're just as messy. So anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and since this measured 18 inches, I cut an 18-inch strip of fabric, and I cut 2 pieces that were 18 inches by 12 inches to give me a few little extra inches to create the flap on the back for us to put in a pillow form. So now we're going to go ahead and sew our seam. We're going to fold over and press so we can sew the edges of this down so we don't have any raw edges. So we just kind of want to make a little seam there on both of these. And then we're just going to take this over to our sewing machine and we're going to sew that seam. And I'm going to go ahead and chain piece those. I love my chain piecing. A mom of 6, everything in my life has been an assembly line. Okay, now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and we are going to lay these good sides together. So we want, because we're going to flip this inside out after we're done sewing around. And then I'm just going to lay this other one on top. And I have about, I can see I have about 4 inches here. So maybe I can maybe trim an inch off of this side or so. So we just have 3 inches. Seems a little bit better. Okay, so now a good way to check to see if we have everything lined up is to just flip that over. No raw edges, good side. Okay, we're good. We're going to lay that back down, and then we're just going to pin all the way around. And as I'm sewing, I'm just going to back stitch on these flap areas because those are like high stress areas. So I want to make sure that I give those a little extra support. And you can do that on the underside ones too. You kind of feel where those are and do that. And we're just going to sew all the way around. And I'm just going to kind of flip this over. And since this is a little bit shorter than my strips, because sometimes you lose some inches in quilting, I'm just going to go ahead and sew on this purple so I make sure I catch everything. Okay, and now we're going to take our pins out and make sure that you caught your edges on both sides, because that happens sometimes. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and clip my corners. It just creates less bulk in the corners when we go and turn this. And you can use a little turning stick or a turning tool to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this out, and we're just going to use our flaps here. And I like to focus in on the corners a little bit. Try to get those out. Don't use your scissors. Learned the hard way. I learned everything the hard way. So we have this, and okay, and now we have this. Everything is good. We're just gonna spend some extra time in that corner again, and now we're going to go ahead and give it a good pressing. And you can feel free to top stitch if you'd like. I'm not going to. Just top stitching will reinforce things a little bit more, but you lose some of the size of your pillow. And even though my square started out at 18 inches, I've lost some of my size in the seam allowances and the quilting and whatnot, but I'm still going to use an 18-inch form when I do this, and I do that because I always like to have a form that is bigger than my pillow size, because it just fills it out a lot better and makes it look very full and no looseness. For some reason I just don't like that looseness feeling, so I would, you know, I used to like just get the right size that I needed and whatever, but then I'd end up putting extra batting and filling everything out anyway. But I just discovered that if I used a bigger size pillow form, it worked out great. So I have my pillow form here. And I guess on my YouTube channel, I'm going to go ahead and clip that tag. Is it illegal? Because I didn't. Nobody wants that tag on there. So I'm going to go ahead and finagle this in there. This is the hardest part other than turning, and it does take a little bit extra to finagle that bigger size in there, but you just do it, and then I just sort of work it into the corners so that it's nice and full, and then I'll massage it because that's what we do with our pillows, right? And voila! We have our cute little pillow that was just sweet and fun and free to make and so simple. So all of the stitches, again, just get your scraps of wool, even if scraps of fabric, if you just want to applique some fabric, don't have any rules. Just cut it, applique it, do some fancy stitches, and you'll have fun. It's free, and all you need is a pillow form and some scraps. So thanks for joining me today. I hope this was fun for you, and I hope I gave you some great ideas, and I can't wait to see you next week. Blessings!